afternoon, good evening, traders from across the globe, and welcome to the 1638th edition of Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar Carboni. Good evening, traders. These videos are basically geared for short-term trading. What we speak about this evening is geared for trading tomorrow. However, we have a slightly longer term view on the board for the emini, S&P, Nasdaq, for the stock market. We will get to that. So this video is going to be both short-term and long-term view. Short-term in the rest of the things we trade, longer-term in the stock market. Traders, before we get into what's on the board, you must know futures trading is extremely risky, causes substantial financial loss, is certainly not suitable for all traders. You must have risk capital to lose if you are going to play this game. If you are someone who places stops, if not, you're a nut. If you are someone who's not a nut and places stops, know that you should always place stops in these markets. Place your stops first. But beware that there could be some slippage if you trade in illiquid markets. You can get what you ask for, which is a slap. So be careful where you place those stops. Let's move forward. So, for trading on June 27th, 2017, that's a Tuesday, we've got some topics on the board. Traders, obviously, you've been watching the markets. If not, last night about 4 a.m. or this morning, Monday morning, Sunday night leading into Monday morning, somebody either did a fat finger or filled an order quicker than they were told to, or really actually swept the markets, which we haven't seen in a while. But gold dropped from like the price of $12.53 to $12.36.5 in 40 seconds last night. Boom! Bumped down. Came back up halfway. So needless to say, we were long gold. We all got stopped out immediately, but that's not the point of the story. So I said, ooh, hiccup. Interesting. Well, then today, the Nasdaq, out of nowhere, runs up, makes a beautiful high for the day, Monday, turns around and slams down about 90 or 85 points. Wow. Two things happening in the same day. The Nasdaq did that last week. Nasdaq has fantastic volatility right now. Nasdaq's in a bear flag. All of this would lead you to think that maybe the top is in. Nasdaq is pointing. I can tell you as an analyst for many years, when a market as expensive as the Nasdaq is getting starts putting in volatility like this, many times it will tell you that a top is coming. And many people are saying because of the recent volatility that may be happening. But I have to say, before we start exploring the bear market that doesn't exist, let me make a case for the one that does. It's still a bull market. It's only been volatile. A slightly longer term view in this video, not for tomorrow only, a slightly longer term view. Let's not call this dead just yet, the stock market. I've got fantastic charts I think you will love that will completely illustrate this and tell you that that is intact, and until it's not, let's not worry about a bear market that hasn't materialized. Next. So, a slightly longer term view. Remember, let's not call this dead just yet. No way. Not the stock market, not after what I show you. Then we've got crude oil insanity on the OMNI, calling crude all the way down so far to the low 40s. The projection remains valid in crude oil for 37, coming at some point soon. Then there's James Jones. Hello, James Jones. He is a YouTube fan of mine. He writes in and says, Oscar, what does Oscar think about gold and silver? Are they still going lower? Well, I've got some charts to show you that, yes, I believe they are. Now, we had a one-day buy signal on Sunday night into Monday, and that failed, and the market went right back into a sell. Fat finger or not, these things happen. They're on the chart. They happened. We believe in them. So the market had a big bar today in gold. We're back to being sellers. Silver and gold have great charts that I think you will find to help me convince you that the answer will be yes to your question. Are they still going lower? And then there's Apple. Now, I've shown you the Apple flag, bear flag, just like the bear flag in the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is the Nasdaq. Apple is a standalone stock. It is a company. It stands alone. And I say this. Apple has a flag. I believe it is a true flag. However, we'll find out very shortly. if it starts to come down. So for Apple, if it's a valid flag, a bear flag, if it's a valid bear flag, we have projections for those flags, and I think Apple is in one. So I've got projections for flags. Apple seems to be in one, and I will show you those projections in this video. I am not saying that the bear flag is absolute, but it sure does look and smell like one. I might as well give you the projections in case it happens. Traders, great charts about to come your way. If you want to study with me live in Las Vegas, Omni Camp is coming soon. You've got to fill out those applications if you'd like to take one of the remaining 3 seats in Omni Camp. Omni Camp is a 4-day extravaganza held live here in Las Vegas. I am at the helm. I have classes with you all day and night for 4 straight days. I will teach you the art of Oscar's market navigational indicator, the Omni. I will teach that to you so that if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, you don't have to worry about where to get your trades from. If that sounds appealing to you, I don't know about the bus trip, but if everything else sounds appealing to you, fill out an application at livewithoscar.com. Remember, we've only got until the last week in August, and we're heading into July right now. If you want to join me, fill out those applications. Time is ticking away. With no further ado, let's go look at some charts. Okay, traders, the Nasdaq daily bar chart. Now, of course, it isn't a big booming bull market and has been in one for some time, but the volatility of late, these huge bars that we're starting to get, that's a bar. You know, this is a bar. It's starting to get volatile all the way up here at this lofty price. Getting volatile generally starts to tell traders to look for maybe a possible top. So you've got a bear flag, that would be bearish, right? And you got the possibility of a top because of this insane volatility lately. But let's hold on just a moment. Let's give this bull market a little credit and let's step this out to a weekly chart. And now we look at the Nasdaq on a weekly bar, and until something goes wrong with this picture, I couldn't possibly consider calling it bearish. I don't know if you can. We've been in this channel for years, and now we've broken out of that channel, moving higher, not parabolic by any means, just trending higher. So can we call this dead just yet? I don't think so, but let's see if we've got more case to show you. Here's the emini S&P on a weekly bar. Look at this, is not running parabolically by any means towards the highs, but it's running in a very sharp parallel pattern. It's done this before, you know, this isn't brand new, and it gets up to this line, it jerks around a little, and then it goes back into a bull market. So here we are doing one of these. We're not at the line yet like you got here, so I can't count this thing out. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense to call this done just because Nasdaq's getting a little pricey. Let's move forward. Dow Jones Transportation Average. Now here's another chart. First of all, I deem this the leader of U.S. indices. Here's another chart that people are saying, Oscar, it went up here, then it tried to get above, it did a little bit, it failed. Now a third time, isn't that like a triple top? Isn't that maybe a head and shoulders? Wouldn't you call that a top? And I say this is not as scary as it seems, and let me show you why. Once again, let's step out of the trees and take a look at the forest. Let's do a bird's eye view up from a plane, and let's go look at the weekly. Now here's what you got to recognize the transportation average is doing on the weekly. Back in 2014, we took off in the transportation average and it went all the way to like 9,400 or 9,380. Messed around for a while and came down. Well, you know what's happened since? We've held the 200 bar moving average on 3 different occasions and put in a bull flag higher than those previous highs, or at least through those previous highs. You've got a bull flag. This looks fantastic for a leader. So if this is going to stay in its pattern, it's going to break out of the bull flag and project higher. I cannot count this out just yet. Let's not call this stock market dead just yet, traders. That's my stock market segment. This is why you cannot just run out and say, Nasdaq's gotten volatile, the top is in. I don't think so, not just yet. Let's look at more charts. Silver and gold for James Jones, YouTube fan. Oscar, what do you think about silver and gold? Are they still going lower? Well, silver Once it broke the 200 bar moving average, cracked, went up, failed right at it, cracked again, and look at this bar here. That is likely a very quick bear flag, and down you should go. That is the projection. Now we've got gold, another question that you had. How about gold? Well, because we settled above the 200 bar moving average on Friday, Sunday into Monday, we thought we could get long the gold. It held, right, a nice channel that it's been in, held the channel, got back above the 200. We looked for long because Omni went bullish, and this is what happened on Sunday night through Monday. Big reversal bar. Now, there's talk that that was a fat finger, that was a mistake. Here's what I know. I grew up on a trading floor. 1236.5 was the print that took place last night during the fat finger, if that's what it was. Then the market went back up. This is an omen, I kid you not. We will absolutely, positively see this price once again. The likelihood is it will take place on Tuesday. If you've seen it during what could have been a mistake, it is an omen. You will get back to that print. More gold selling to come if you ask me. I think gold moves down. This is on the short term. Then you've got crude oil. Traders, a round of applause. I mean, come on. What more could we ask for? Some markets Omni just nails perfectly. Crude oil. When we were up here, as you know, and if you don't, I'll just make you aware, market was up here, and my Omni called for a breakdown to the price of 37 before we go as high as 57. Now, the price of 37 is so low I couldn't put it on this chart because it only goes down as low as 42. We were here. You know where 57 was? Right there. If we would have hit that spot before hitting 37, I would have been wrong. I called 37 before we get to that spot. You know how far down 37 is? It's way down. You can't even put it on the chart. Let's go look at a weekly. On the weekly, acceleration or hyper mode towards the downside should follow breaking the Omni average like we did here. And we went into this when I have a cylinder to illustrate. Big drop. Well, here we've penetrated that Omni average and we're down here. If we start going into the cylinder, down we will go to the 37 Omni target. So far, the crude call has been on the money. Let's move forward. Soybeans daily bar, bear flag drop, bear flag drop. We gave two projections when these bear flags started. One was 902. The low has been 901.5 to 902 of the drop so far. And then we've got an 886 projection, which should ensue at some point, even if it goes up a little, down to 886 is projected in your soybeans over the next few days. And then we've got Apple traders. Look at this Apple chart. Bear flag. What's interesting about it is below the 50 bar moving average. That hasn't happened in Apple in quite some time. It has maintained above that average for a long time. Even when it dipped, it got right back above. But this is way up high now. This isn't down here. This is way up here. Makes a bear flag. You could make a case for this being some sort of a head and a shoulder and the possibility of another shoulder building. You could make a case that you broke the 50 bar moving average. You could break a case that this is a bear flag. There's a lot of bearish cases for Apple. So I say let's divorce Apple from the stock market and give the projections off the flags. 140, projection number 1 for Omni and Apple. 137, projection number 2. If these turn out to be correct, I will give you much lower projections for the whole move. Let's start with finding out if that's a bear flag to begin with. If it is, if it turns out to be a bear flag, these are your projections. Omni says it's a bear flag. Let's see what we get. Traders, I'd like for you to come on down to livewithoscar.com and look at this one last chart before we move out of here. And that is the same chart, but I zoomed in a little bit on that bear flag. And with the exception of just a little bit of a penetration above here, and the same thing happened almost the next couple of days, Apple has stayed inside of the parameters of that bear flag below the 50 bar. Now, Apple is a stock. It can't trade at night as actively as it does during the day. So if the S&P opens higher, Apple may gap, which is why you might have seen a little bit above and a little below the flag. But overall, that, my friends, is a bear flag. Let's see what happens. I will meet you all at livewithoscar.com. Okay, traders, you've seen the charts. I'm going to let this chart segment speak for itself and get myself out of here. Remember, livewithoscar.com. Come join my recommendation service. I send you signals day and night, as OMNI calls them. When we get in trades, when we get out of trades, it never stops from Sunday night till Friday afternoon. Join my free texting service. Come join the site. It's free. livewithoscar.com. Remember, keep your emotions out of trading. One of the best things you can do to help keep those emotions at bay is say this to yourselves every morning, every afternoon, every evening. And you know what that is. Stops are in. Emotions are out. Rock and roll. livewithoscar.com. I will see you there. Futures trading is risky and can cause substantial financial loss. We do not claim or guarantee that you will profit from the information provided.